Hey guys, Bryant Luers here. I am the sales agronomist in Southeast Iowa. Here in Southeast Iowa, we've had some pretty interesting weather so far this year. We started off the year in this area around the Mount Pleasant, Mount Union area with tons of rainfall, well over normal. Things really struggled coming out of the ground. There was a lot of replant. So this is an early planted plot that I'm standing in front of today. There's been a little bit of disease creep in here in the last few weeks. So basically what we're going to cover today is kind of just go through what I'm looking at when I'm out scouting fields. Number one thing I do when I walk in here before I start checking for any disease is as I'm walking through here, I'll just do a push test on these stalks and see how many snap off. There was one, that was two. So this particular hybrid in this plot, guys, not doing very well as far as stalk integrity goes. So this might be one to let this grower know to harvest a little bit early. So once I do that and kind of get a good feel for how the stalks are doing, I'll just walk through here, look at general disease in the canopy. As you guys can see, there's a little bit of tar spot happening here. Can find some gray leaf spot in here as well. Gray leaf is a disease that generally we have pretty commonly here in southern Iowa. This particular year, it's not really affecting too much. It hasn't been as bad as in the past. So the one I want to focus on the most, though, is this newer one, specifically to Southeast Iowa, is Tarspot. And I mentioned it a bit ago, but this particular field 2 years ago when it was in corn, I remember coming out here and looking at the plot, and they had Tarspot just in a very few places. This year, it's significantly different. So fast forward 2 years from that, where we just were starting to see it, just was starting to become a problem here in the Midwest, specifically in southern Iowa where I'm at. So 2 years later, you know, this stuff's hanging out in the residue, and it's starting to show up a lot worse than it did before. So that's the big disease that I'm seeing pop up a lot more here in specifically this year, but over the last couple of years. But having said that, it's not a disease in southern Iowa that I'd say has really caused us any economic harm yet. I know if you move up into like northeast and east central Iowa and get into Illinois, Wisconsin, that becomes a lot worse. And there are areas where they're definitely at economic threshold with tar spots. So you can control this just like most other foliar diseases with a fungicide. I would just say check the label because not all of them are labeled for tar spots. So we're probably a little past doing anything on this stuff here, because if I go over here to this ear, you can see this is at dent. And I did break one off here, and you can see our milk line is, I don't know, maybe 10% down there. So spraying fungicide at this point in the game isn't going to do much for us. But earlier on, if we were out here scouting this and thought it was at economic threshold, you can definitely put a fungicide on there to help keep that tar spot at bay. The other thing I'm seeing a lot, and I haven't seen any in this field today as I'm walking through here, but I've been seeing a lot of rootworm beetles this year. So specifically northern corn rootworm beetles. I can't say I've seen a whole lot of root feeding in here or even in southern Iowa, but it is something that I'm going to keep an eye on going forward here, because I know talking to guys north of here into Iowa, rootworm feeding has been a major issue this year. So yeah, so I guess if you guys have any other questions about diseases or scouting or anything like that, feel free to reach out to myself or reach out to your local sales agronomist and ask any questions you want. Thank you, guys.